You know that friend who always seems a little too happy when plans get canceled? The one who hears, "Let's go out tonight," and immediately starts calculating how much peace they're about to lose. Maybe that person is you. And if it is, let me say this first. There is nothing wrong with you. Loving to stay at home does not mean you are lazy, antisocial, or secretly miserable. In fact, for a lot of people, staying home is not avoidance at all. It is regulation. It is restoration. It is the one place where their nervous system finally gets permission to unclench. And that matters more than most people realize. Because the world has a very specific story about what a good life is supposed to look like. It is loud. It is social. It is always happening somewhere else. The best life, according to the culture, is out there. At dinners, parties, brunches, concerts, weekend trips, crowded bars, endless group chats, and photos proving you were present for all of it. So if you are someone who genuinely feels happiest in your own space, with your own routines, your own silence, and your own little rituals, it can start to feel like maybe you are doing life wrong. But here is what nobody tells you. People who love staying at home are often not disconnected from life. They are connected to a different kind of life, one that feels safer, slower, deeper, and more emotionally sustainable. Psychologically, home is not just a location. For certain people, it becomes what researchers in environmental psychology would call a regulation environment, a space where the brain can predict what comes next. And your brain loves prediction. It loves knowing the sounds, the lighting, the temperature, the rhythm, the layout, the expectations. Out in the world, there are too many variables, too much noise, too much interruption, too much pressure to respond correctly, look interested, be energetic, keep up. At home, that pressure drops. The body stops bracing. The mind stops scanning. And what looks from the outside like doing nothing can actually be your nervous system returning to baseline. That is why some people feel instantly relieved the second they close the front door behind them. It is not because they hate people. It is because the performance is over. For many home-loving people, the deepest appeal of home is not comfort in the superficial sense. It is control. And before that word sounds unhealthy, let's be fair about it. Control is not always about being rigid or difficult. Sometimes control is just the ability to exist without being constantly interrupted by other people's energy. Outside, your time gets negotiated, your attention gets pulled, your mood gets affected by noise, traffic, crowds, schedules, and social obligations you did not even choose. At home, your environment reflects your own internal pace. You can make tea when you want, sit in silence when you want, watch the same comfort show for the 10th time without needing to explain yourself to anyone. To a person whose mind is already carrying too much stimulation, that kind of control does not feel restrictive. It feels merciful. This is also why people who love staying at home are often misunderstood. Society tends to assume that if you are not seeking stimulation, you must be depressed, fearful, or unfulfilled. But psychologists have long noted that people differ in their optimal arousal levels. Some nervous systems feel best with high stimulation, lots of novelty, lots of people, lots of movement. Others function best with less noise, less unpredictability, less social input. If you are someone whose brain reaches its limit quickly, then home is not where life stops. It is where life becomes manageable enough to actually be felt. And that is a huge distinction. There is also a deeper emotional layer to this that most people miss. For some people, home is the only place where they get to stop being useful. Out in the world, they are the responsible one, the polite one, the emotionally aware one, the one who reads the room, answers the texts, keeps the conversation going, remembers the little things, performs well, shows up, stays composed. Even in loving relationships, many people are subtly managing expectations all the time. At home alone, that entire identity can soften. You do not have to be interesting. You do not have to be charming. You do not have to react fast enough or smile at the right moment or make anyone comfortable. You just get to be. And for some people, being is so rare that it feels almost sacred. That is why staying home can feel less like isolation and more like reunion. It is the place where they meet themselves again. Now, of course, not everyone who stays home is doing it for healthy reasons. Sometimes home can become a hiding place. Sometimes staying in is not peace, but paralysis. Depression can look like, I just want to stay home. Anxiety can disguise itself as, I'm just more comfortable here. Trauma can make the outside world feel so draining that withdrawal starts to look like preference. And it is important to be honest about that. The real question is not simply, do you love staying at home? The better question is, what happens to you there? Do you feel more like yourself, more creative, more grounded, more rested? Or do you feel numb, trapped, and disconnected from your own life? Because those are not the same thing. Healthy solitude fills you up. Protective withdrawal slowly shrinks your world. But for people who truly love staying at home in a healthy way, the inner world is not empty at all. That is the part extroverted culture often fails to understand. Some people do not need constant activity because their interior life is already rich. They notice the way afternoon light moves across the wall. They genuinely enjoy making the same meal again because the ritual itself is soothing. They feel restored by reading, cleaning, thinking, organizing, journaling, cooking, nesting, rearranging, or simply sitting quietly without anyone asking them to turn themselves outward. These are not tiny pleasures to them. These are the moments where life actually becomes real, and there is something psychologically powerful about that. In a world built on performance, people who love staying at home often have a stronger relationship with presence. They are less seduced by spectacle. They know that peace is not always loud enough to photograph. They understand that a meaningful life does not have to look exciting from the outside to feel deeply right on the inside. Sometimes the person everyone thinks is missing out is actually the one who has figured something out first. They are not waiting for life to begin once the plans start, once the group arrives, once the weekend becomes impressive enough. They are already in it, already living it, already feeling it. And maybe that is what makes home so powerful for them. It is not just a house or an apartment or a room. It is a boundary, a reset button, a refuge from overstimulation, a place where the body remembers that it is safe and the mind remembers that it does not need an audience to exist. So if you are someone who genuinely loves staying at home, do not rush to label that as a flaw. It may simply mean your nervous system values depth over noise, regulation over stimulation, meaning over display. It may mean you have learned that peace is not something you stumble into by accident. It is something you protect, something you create, something you return to on purpose. You are not boring because you prefer your own space. You are not broken because crowds do not energize you. You are not wasting your life because you feel happiest where the world gets quiet enough to hear yourself think. For some people, home is not where they retreat from life. It is where life finally feels gentle enough to be lived. And if that sounds like you, then maybe your love of staying home is not a limitation at all. Maybe it is wisdom. If this video made you feel seen, subscribe to the channel for more deep psychology content that helps you understand yourself on a deeper level. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like so I know to make more content like this.